right. Good morning. Welcome to 3M Affairs podcast. I am here with Joshua Sturr and Caleb John Cushing. And today we have a very special guest joining us. A good friend of ours, went to school with us, Marlon Quijije. Welcome, man. How you doing?
What's up, guys? I'm good. Thank you for having me. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. Dude, we are stoked. You are our very, very first guest.
I know. I got the honors. I'm honestly probably going to be a recurring role, so I'll be here next week too. Just joining.
That is what we're hoping. That is what we're hoping. We're definitely going to have to do the newest Fast and the Furious when it comes out.
Dude.
100%.
I know Caleb's not looking forward to
Dude, don't
that,
even get him started. Yeah, dude.
That's just a different conversation. I can go into depth with everything right now, but we'll have to wait for that.
Oh, we will be going into depth. I have a lot of questions specifically about Han. For the record, today we'll be talking about Tokyo Drift, one of the, if not the best in the Fast and the Furious franchise.
I'll give my opinion on that.
We're really
later.
going in right away in the beginning. It's interesting.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we'd give Marlon a chance to introduce himself,
right?
Tell
See
people
what he's doing.
He does,
How do we know
just
him?
Want to talk about?
Dude,
Okay.
I will do all that, but Fast and Furious is the most important thing in the world right now. That everything else can wait. Okay.
That's true. I'm so sorry. You're right.
But no, seriously, what's going on, Marlon? What's new? What's happening?
Nothing, man. I'm glad to be here with you guys. Thank you for having me. I just want to say that I'm proud of you guys for doing this. Like, this is really creative, and it's amazing that you guys got it up.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, bro.
Like, congratulations for taking the first step and doing what you have to do. I'm good, man. Grinding, hustling, auditioning and stuff. I've been editing a lot too, like video editing, which is fun. And I also been writing. Caleb knows I've been writing, so trying to explore that territory as well. But just staying creative in the process and trying to get rid of this COVID 50.
50, bro.
You got COVID 50.
I got COVID
man.
50.
Dude, you
bro.
looked great the other night, so I don't know what you're talking about,
no.
or where you hide it.
Under my Spanx.
Oh Lord. Under his dance belt, which he wears always.
These are actor secrets, man. Actor secrets.
Right.
So Marlon went to school with us as an actor along with Brandon. And yeah, good buddy of ours. I actually had the pleasure of directing him in a play at school in Roger and Vanessa, so that's really nice to have to work with him like that, but it's good to see Marlon looking good.
Thank you. And we were also roommates.
A year out. And we were also roommates for a year, so I have a special...
but fuck that. That was miserable. Only in the context of school are we friends.
Right.
Now, dude, Marlon, we were actually just talking about video editing and stuff on the last episode. What are you using for your video editing?
I've been using Final Cut a lot. I actually started because my boss had like a conference stuff and he wanted me to like edit these videos for him. And he was like, "Oh, can you edit this for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." I didn't know how to edit anything. I just said I could. And he's like, "Well, you could either use Adobe Premiere or Final Cut." He's like, "I like using Final Cut because it's easier, but whatever you have more experience with." And I was like, "Oh, I can use Adobe," because he didn't have Adobe on the computer. So I was like, "Oh, this gives me like leeway to not do it." I was like, "Oh, I'll use Adobe." He's like, "You know what? Just use Final Cut." I was like, "Okay." So I learned how to do Final Cut. And
he's like, "I'm going to pretend to give you an
right.
option."
Yeah. He's like,
but you're using Final Cut.
Right. But no, and I've been doing it for like his conferences and stuff, and now I've just been playing with it. And there's so much things you can do with it. It's amazing. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's very the user interface is very intuitive.
It's really good. So
I like it a lot.
It's interesting where with all that stuff, and I think I said this last time, where it's very much the hardest part is finding all the buttons. Like, it's finding what you need. Once you find it, you know what you're doing, you know what you're trying to do. It's like, but it's the new edition. Where did you move the split button to? Let me take 20 minutes finding it. And then so it's that is the worst.
It's crazy because like I literally probably just like know how to do maybe 1% of what you can do with a program. And then like the rest of the stuff I'll YouTube and I'll start to like play with. But there's literally so like you could do so much on it. It's amazing. I've only edited like a video that's maybe 10 minutes at most, and it takes me like 24 hours. Like just a 10-minute video. I'm just like, this is like
100%.
Imagine editing like a whole feature film. Like, dude.
That's why like that's why it's like months. That's why it's always like a year
But you
after.
can do it. They edited True Grit, the Coen Brothers movie on Final Cut.
Yeah, no,
Pro.
I'm saying
only
that
Final Cut 7. So you can totally do it.
no, you can. It's a good
Also, that
program.
movie's dope.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
Well, it's oh, sorry, go ahead, Josh.
No, if this is about, I was gonna go. It's kind of the same thing with like, you know, when I first started editing the episodes on Audacity, it's like as soon as I get those like 2 or 3 tools that I need, I can really do it. But I still have yet to even like dive into all the effects that I could do, all the nuances, right? Like I could, if I wanted to, I could take an entire day and, you know, zoom in a lot and then really kind of splice and edit it together and make it the nuances of it. But because it's a podcast and it's just, our microphones are good enough to where it's really easy just to kind of get the timing and flow down in. But yeah, I totally like learning these new systems, you know, or these new programs is a lot. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So,
but it's good.
Brandon, you go ahead and I interrupted you. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was going to say a very, very similar thing. But yeah, no, it's any, you know, any type of editing takes forever. Like, do you remember even though when I was editing that video for Matt for Ritual, for his Ritual, and it was just like a compilation of a bunch of shit. Like, it took me like 8 hours just downloading and cutting videos together, you know? It's such a time consuming process, but it feels good. It's like a nice creative process.
Definitely.
Yeah, it gives you freedom to create your own thing and how you want to do it, which is amazing. Like I said, I've been writing a little bit, so like just little things that I write, I just like picture on Final Cut, like, oh, maybe I could edit it this way or something. Not saying I would direct it, but like, you know, just the editing process or just images and stuff. So it's just another way to play.
100%.
Yeah.
I saw a really interesting interview. Oh my God. What? This is the guy from Ozark. Help me out here. Man guy.
Jason Bateman.
Yeah, Bateman. So he also edits and directs a bunch of episodes and writes a lot of it too. And so he was saying where it was on one of the round tables, and he, while he's acting now, he knows how he's going to edit it because he's the one editing it. So he'll like act to the point where he's like, he knows what he's cutting and what he's taking. And so he knows exactly what he's doing to the camera for himself.
Right.
And so he can edit and cut it to that. And he's like, it's made acting for me just way easier because I know exactly what it's a cheat. You know, I know what I'm editing for, so I can do that. And then
it's interesting because we're taught to like not, you know, it's hard to not think of the camera, but we're trying to get to a place where we don't know it's there. We're not trying to play to the camera. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like that's as a director, you know, writer, and you're always kind of aware of how it's looking. It kind of takes you out a little bit, but if he's figured out that sweet spot where he can still do great performances on camera, and still do it to kind of as like a nod to him to make his life easier as a director and editor, then kudos to him. I have yet to figure it out just because I have very little experience, but
he was also a child actor, right? So it's like, it really is like in his bones.
He's really been around it for he's that's true.
But yeah, Caleb, Josh, what's new with you boys?
Had a nice conversation with my friend Derek in LA Monday. Or Tuesday. I went down a little rabbit hole. I was telling Caleb this last night that about just like labeling, like what is our journey, what is our, you know, or my journey, like as a creator, as an artist, as a director, actor who can sing, dance, whatever. You know, I'm kind of stuck in this during this quarantine of like, I need to create, but I'm also still battling that need for validation by people that I respect. And as actors, you know, the traditional way of thinking is that, you know, you audition and someone has, you know, says, and I think we've mentioned this in earlier episodes, that they give you the job, right? So, or like your peers are like, oh yeah, that's good. You have this kind of potential. You can keep going, you know? And it's been hard because I personally haven't had that in a while. And maybe that's just in my head. But kind of doing this podcast, and I created a concept for a musical that I want to do or create, started yesterday, and then, working on some shorts and stuff, or like talking about it. It just kind of helps focus my mind and stuff. So I'm kind of at a much better place, you know, this morning, than I was, you know, but it also helps. But I did do like a 3-hour, 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. kind of thought spiral, trying to figure out all my problems and in one night type of situation, which I'm sure we all can relate to.
Absolutely. I mean,
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, Josh. Sorry.
Damn it.
I'm perfect. I have perfect mental health.
I'm pretty sure we had a
You're
class
fucking
on
weird,
that.
dude. You're a fucking
it's
freak.
still crazy to me though, like what Josh said, which is so
Thank you,
it's
Caleb.
so true about the validation. It's like a lot of us. It's weird. Like we honestly don't do it for validation, but then it's like you do miss that validation, and you do want that validation of just like anything. Whether it's like a short film that you get booked, you just want to hear like, oh, congratulations, you booked the part. And it's like it's something that's not really important, but at the same time, it like makes such a difference, you know, on things because like Josh said, like, you know, we're doing our best to stay creative, and you guys are doing what you can with the podcast, which is amazing. And like everyone's doing their own thing, but it's just that validation part that everyone's missing, that you're just like, well, what am I doing that's not enough, you know? Which is a question that everyone's asking himself.
We're in a very competitive and oversaturated industry.
Right.
And like it's 99.999% rejection. And that's something that like when you're in school they tell you, but like also at least for me in the back of my mind, it's like, yeah, but like we're in like school, like we're doing, you know, we're doing it like we're going to be better, different than all the, it's going to be different for us. And then
we're doing this so that we can have a little bit of a,
you know,
an edge. Yeah.
But it's still just, and then, you know, when a fucking virus shuts down everything, it's hard to find work. So just, you know, the universe is,
no, so you'll probably start seeing, definitely. You'll probably start seeing some more thirst trap photos from me because I'm also learning. I was like, you know what? I need to have more of a social media presence, and I have a, you know, in the bear community. So a lot of more shirtless pics and a lot of me just kind of being like, hey, what's up, guys?
Let's do a 3M Affairs podcast calendar.
Yeah. Yo.
Dude, I'm all about it.
My God.
I'll buy one.
What month would everybody want?
Dude, December.
Let's go around the horn.
I would say February.
Marlon's February, Black History.
January for me because it's my birthday.
That's why I said.
So, okay.
I'm going to be
Brandon.
Spooky October.
Ooh. Spooky, scary skeletons.
Exactly.
I'll take the rest. And then we're good.
It's great.
And it's not a bunch of different pictures than you. It's just one long spread. Like it's one picture cut up into all the different months.
But then there's just you in October, then like my feet for the last 2 months.
It's you like laying down on like a bear rug.
Like a thing. I think this has legs. Yeah. I think like we should look into this seriously.
I think we'd be able to fund the podcast for years.
Dude, you got to market yourself.
What are you saying? Like,
market yourselves. This is
for
it.
July.
What's your brand? My brand is.
You'll see on the calendar what my brand is.
Oh.
I just look forward to that midsummer, like just Caleb's crotch right in front of, just right there for 2 months.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, cool. Are we in September yet?
It's not. It wouldn't take up 2 months. Gotta be self-deprecating.
That's true. You good, Caleb? Otherwise,
yeah, I'm fine. We talked about it. I talked about it a while ago, but there's somebody that we all went to school with who's trying to do like Zoom, Twitch Shakespeare, like online virtual Shakespeare, and asked me and a couple other people to help him like form like sort of like an online digital Shakespeare company.
Oh, nice.
And so we're figuring out like our like next show, and if we were doing like a season. It's been a lot of fun to like be a part of an organization like that.
It's awesome.
That's awesome, man.
So hopefully, knock on wood, but we're gonna be doing like Macbeth in the next couple months.
Ooh.
And lots of really cool ideas about how to make it like, because when we're doing it live, we do it live, but it's like broadcast on Twitch. So you can do so much with like OBS, with like moving screens around and special effects. Yeah. Still, you can make it very theatrical.
Yeah, it was really cool when I saw Midsummer.
So I think that'll be really exciting and different. Like I don't think a lot of like, obviously you have like the big like places like the Public and like Broadway stuff are like starting to explore that. But in terms of just like a lot of other smaller people who are just doing something online and it looks kind of shitty because it's on Zoom. Right. I feel like this is like setting itself apart in a really interesting way, and I'm excited to keep doing that.
Well, it's so interesting to see like the creativity in that, right? And like, you know, as you're exploring as artists and stuff, it's like, oh, it's what Marlon was talking about earlier with the editing too, right? It's like that kind of extra with the technology, you can try to figure out all these different ways to get your artistic point or view across, which is amazing.
Right.
100%.
Yeah, it's true mixed media. Like it's something between theater and film. And it's kind of taking the both the best aspects of both.
Which is something interestingly enough that I did find was more nurtured at school than I thought it would be. Because I ended up doing a lot of stuff like that and bringing in projectors for different things. And nobody ever said anything to me. It was never like, hey, what are you doing? Like, do it straight up or whatever. It was like, no, do what you're doing, explore. So that was, it's nice to think back on that.
Yeah.
Well, we're all checked in.
Is it time?
Caleb,
let me know when it's time.
Any voiceover stuff going on?
Oh, I mean, it's like always auditions, but like we were saying, haven't heard that yes yet,
right.
Which is really fucking frustrating.
Yo, but Caleb, that yes doesn't matter, bro. You're on the path, you're on the road. That's all that matters,
Well, and it's also like
thanks, Marlon.
the consistent auditioning is the important thing. You know what I mean? It's building those relationships with casting directors. It's being called in for stuff repetitively. That's because if they keep calling you and you're having consistent auditions, man, like that means they're trying to find something that clicks. That's all.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, it's just like frustrating. Like, there was one thing that I thought I did a really good job at and I wanted really badly. And then like, obviously you never hear back if you don't hear back, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like they just don't, but then like you look on Wikipedia and it's some fucking asshole from a Harry Potter musical, like gets it because he has, a name and everything. And it's like, fuck this guy. You know what I mean? Like, shit like that, but trying to stay positive.
Very, very, very.
I mean, that's the name of the game.
So. It's nice though that's the point that we're at, where it's like when you don't get a role, you can find out on Twitter, and you're like, oh shit, like, okay, that's cool.
I understand why they went with this guy.
I think I mentioned this to you guys the other day, and I won't like say the name, but there's a musical artist that now it's like 3 roles in a row, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, that's cool, and I like him too, so I like listen to his music all the time, and I'm like, oh, all right, that's cool.
It's Ja Rule, right?
This Ja Rule.
Oh god.
You and Ja are similar type,
dude,
I feel.
Caleb, I told you about that movie. You have to watch that movie.
Marlon, really quickly before can you tell everybody about this thing?
Yeah,
really
so
quickly?
I was at my buddy Days and Eddie's house. It was me, Juani, and Day and Eddie. And like they were all hanging out and I was just like on Netflix chilling because I just wanted to hang out for a bit by myself. So I go on Netflix and I'm scrolling down and I see this movie. It's called I'm in Love with a Church Girl. And I was like, what is this? So I read, the synopsis and I see the characters and it's like Ja Rule's the main character. And it's like it's based on a true story. It's based on a true story. And like, it's about like a felon who falls in love with like this church girl and things like that. But let me just say we all saw it together and we could not stop dying. It was so bad that you were intrigued by it. First of all, the opening credits, it said executive producer, God. Like it said, I was like, no. I was like, I could not stop lying. And then on top of that, you know how like the Avengers logo, it blends in and then you see like the A shining and stuff. And then like you hear the theme. Yeah. That's exactly how the title opened for this movie. And I was like, what am I watching? I was just like, whoever wrote this was probably like, get me Ja Rule on the phone. I need Ja Rule right now. And I'm just like, dude. And every scene is like, in the Bible it says, and I'm just like, what am I watching? But
oh wow,
is
it newer? It's like
hilarious.
It's from like 2013. We looked it up. It's like almost a decade old.
Right. That was a good time for movies.
Was it?
Now, I'm not trying to take away from like the creative process and like the artistic process about it. I'm just saying like,
sure.
Yeah, people can create what they want to create, but then there's a level of
we do it every week.
we do that. So
I'm just saying,
I mean, I wouldn't be as bold enough to say like produced by God.
Yeah, that's
maybe
that's
Jesus,
why I was
but
like, what is this? Like, God is just looking down, like, dude. Don't put my name on that. Nope, don't do that.
Uncredited, please. My agent does not sign off on this. There was like billing dispute, so you know how like people don't get credit.
Right.
Like Don Cheadle,
so good.
In Ocean's 11.
He didn't get credit for that.
No, he wanted top billing, and they wouldn't give it to him. So he's like, "Don't even put my name on it." bro.
Wait.
Dude.
He wanted top billing in Ocean's
He wanted
11?
he wanted above the line billing with like Clooney and Damon and
Wait, how does that
Pitt.
work? What? So above the line is like the before credits?
Yeah, it's like George Clooney, Brad
Right.
Pitt,
Yeah.
Matt Damon, Ocean's 11, everybody else. You know what I mean? And Don Cheadle wanted that fucking
Yeah, that's fair.
above the line.
Okay, that's fair.
And then they said no. Not only are you not a main character, your also accent's atrocious. And then he was like, "Well, fine, then don't even fucking credit me."
Also, there's like 40 famous people in this movie. That's all this is. Is it being famous as fuck people?
yeah.
But Don Cheadle is a man.
Uh.
Have you guys ever seen that interview? What is it? I listened to this podcast. It's like what's his name? He speaks with actors and stuff like every week. And Don Cheadle was on one episode, and he was talking about like, you know, people come up to him and they're like, "Oh, I want to be just like you," and this and that. He's like, "Wait, you want to be famous, or do you want to be like an actor? Because if you want to be like an artist, an actor, you know, what are you doing? Are you reading plays? Are you doing plays? Are you going into shops and touching stuff and working with it to see like, you know, if you can create it?" And I was like, "Oh, dude, man, this guy really knows what he's talking about. Like, that's amazing." Because it's true.
Well,
a lot
not
of
right
people.
now.
No, I know. But I'm saying like not a lot of people know the work that
Yeah,
goes.
that's bad advice, Don. In 2020, you can't be touching stuff. In
this
stores.
interview was like at least 4 years ago or so. Not.
No, I know. We're joking around.
No, but I mean that's interesting. It's like it's that level of, you know, do you want to just be an influencer,
Right.
famous or whatever, or just known, or do you want to like, are you actually in love with the craft? And I think that's what we're all kind of struggling with. Was like, just we love the craft. You know, we would love some recognition, but like, really, we got to do it for ourselves.
Well,
you know,
it's
every single day.
you know, it's interesting, like the choices you have to make for that too. We never talked about this, but last year, like 6 months ago, whatever, when I first got back and I was here, and I was signed with a modeling agency as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up going for my headshots, you know, later in the year. And I was talking to the headshot photographer, who's, you know, really great. She's also an actress, fantastic. And she was telling me, she was looking at all my stuff online, my resume and stuff. And she was like, "Look, man, you're an actor. And if you want to be perceived as an actor, you got to drop the modeling agency." Just in that it was like, and it wasn't a top modeling agency. Obviously, that's a different thing, right? If you're with somebody but it was like the perception is not good here on what you're doing. And
Yeah.
you know, and it was like, it's pulling you over here. And it was just, you know, it's so the choice you have to make. We're like, what do you want to do? You know, at the end of the day, what are you doing this for? So, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Real quick, like speaking on that before we go into everything, because I feel like I'm kind of sidelinking. But anyway, I did this one gig too, which was like a modeling thing, and it was like the first time I ever did like a photo shoot thing or whatever, and it was just a bunch of models there, and I think I was like the only artist / actor. So I would try to talk to these people, and like, you know, they weren't the nicest of people. You know, they were really like stuck up and stuff. And some of them would be like, "Oh yeah, you know, I'm trying the acting thing too now." And also I'm like, "Oh cool. Do you guys like to do theater or like what?" He's like, "Theater? Nope. Only film." Like, come on. I was like, "Oh, okay. All right. That's fine." But it's like,
But it's,
Yeah,
what?
that's the-
Like,
I mean, that's the idea. Yeah.
No, that's the thing is like you can kind of tell immediately
Yeah,
who's
and I'm
like
just
wants
like,
to
alright.
be an artist and who wants to be famous.
When-
It's
and-
like not difficult.
you know, like and just to be clear, I don't want to, you know, shit on modeling or anything.
yeah, me either.
But
I was
it's,
just saying like it's just a different
No.
thing.
But it's interesting. It is very interesting, and it's kind of what I'm talking about, right? It is that idea, or like, you know. Also, the other thing I was going to say, Marlon, is it's interesting, you know, doing modeling gigs, right? Like, it's the reason that I was told to drop my modeling agency and stuff is because it was irrelevant. They were putting me out for the same jobs that my other agency was anyway, so it was causing things. So it's like, yeah, it all becomes irrelevant anyway, because like, you know, unless you're doing top level modeling stuff,
Right.
they're just looking for actors and models or whatever, and then picking people anyway. You know what I mean?
Dude.
So it becomes this like, this intermix.
I will say though, they make bank, bro. Like for that one thing, I was just an extra because like I wasn't the lead and stuff, but the leads were walking away that day with like about probably $4,000, and it was just for like not even 8 hour, probably like a 5 hour day. And I was like, dude, what?
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous.
Why do you think everybody wants to be famous?
No, but
Why do you think?
but they're not. That's what I'm saying. They're not even famous. It's just like a regular like photo shoot for them that they're just like, "Oh yeah, I'm good for rent for like 4 months." I'm like, damn. All right.
Yeah, I mean
that's like the world you can be in.
Right.
Like that's why what's it alluring to people like that.
Yeah.
Is like if you just have to like look really good and you can walk away with like a few grand for 5 hours. Absolutely.
Sure.
Well, okay, hold on though, because like that's a fair statement, but at the same time, like that's like what happened with the NFL thing. But I also like was in New York for 3 years at acting school, and like that got me the agent that got me that job. You know what I mean? And all
Dude,
that was ended up being modeling. So it's like
I remember I was with Eddie at a bar. It was actually Eddie, Day, me, and Juani, and we were at a bar, and Eddie was like, "Yo, is that Brandon?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I look up, and you lift up the garage door with your jersey. I was like, "Oh
yeah,
shit,
the garage door.
That's Brandon."
It's funny because it's like
that's
real
bad.
quick too. And I like you have to be like watching the commercial to like be like, oh, cool. You know, it was really cool. I was love to see you do more,
Thanks, bro.
Brandon. I can't wait for that to happen.
Yeah,
for all of us
sure.
to just be like, oh shit.
Well, hopefully down the line, it's a whole project that we're all doing would be sick.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course. No, you guys. I mean, you better bring me along, Brandon. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, guys, I just thought about something,
Don't forget where you came from.
and I don't know if we've talked about this. Do you guys know me at all?
You might even say that we don't have friends. We have family.
Yeah. Also, you guys know me, and I have a massive hero complex. So, you know,
Sure.
my goals lie in that anyway, all the time, and I can't help myself from any of that. Fuck, what was I going to say? You guys distracted me.
No idea.
I think you were gonna say something with like Caleb said. I don't got friends.
I think we're gonna segue.
I got family.
Oh, it was something about that. It was definitely a joke. It's not worth it now. I can't remember.
We can cut all this out.
But, so.
We can just start over.
I would like to give a little bit of backstory, just in why we're having Marlon on for Tokyo Drift and Marlon's love for Fast and Furious. So feel free to jump in and stop me or add anything, Marlon. But as we
Let's go.
fantastic.
Sorry, I don't want to get copyright. That's the Teriyaki Boys, which is a great name for a fucking band, by the way.
Great name. Also great
Teriyaki
tune.
Boys.
Great tune.
It's a banger.
So as we went through school, more and more so, Marlon's love for the Fast and the Furious was revealed to us in the best of ways. That my favorite moment though was after Power Rangers came out, and you came in the next day and were like, "Yo, Power Rangers gonna win a Academy Award, bro." And I'm not gonna lie, I love Power Rangers, it's a good movie, but no.
Listen.
Yeah, it was also like March.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Right,
So
it's like after
Marlon
the-
was calling it super early. Like even if it was a better movie than Power Rangers, it's very bold.
it should've-
to like walk in March 3rd.
It should have been between
Yeah.
Power Rangers and Fast and Furious 8. That's just me, though. That's just me.
Wait,
I don't know Fast and Furious 8. I know Fate of the
There
Furious.
you go. You know, they messed up. They could have put F8 of the Furious instead of Fate of the Furious, and it would have been
Yeah.
better.
They could
but-
have.
yeah.
One of the very few times it would have worked.
Right?
Instead of like TAC 3 and or like
Jesus.
other fucking garbage that people try to do. That would have been perfect.
Well,
Should have done it.
the Dan Harmon rant. Have you ever seen the Dan Harmon rant about Now You See Me Too not being called Now You Don't?
Now you don't. Yeah, they fucked up. They missed out a huge opportunity.
Oh,
Dude. Marlon, what is it about the franchise that excites you?
Oh,
Can you take us through your personal journey with Fast and the Furious?
yeah. All right. Let's start from a long, long time ago. No. Yeah, it's weird.
The year was 1995.
The year was 1999.
Marlon was just born.
No, I remember seeing the first one, the Fast and Furious, at my uncle's house. We used to go to my uncle's house like every Friday with my parents, and we were just chilling. He rented this movie, and I was just there sitting, and I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." I've never seen like a street racing movie with like cops or whatnot. And you know, it was cool. And then I saw Too Fast, Too Furious in the theater, and I was like, "Okay, cool." And then I remember Tokyo Drift came out, and it was like it said the Fast and Furious, but I was like, there's no one from the previous ones. What is this? And I saw it, and like I went with my cousins to see it, and my cousin loved it, and I thought I was like, okay, cool. Until I saw the cameo at the end, I was like, all right, this is pretty good. And then the fourth one came out when I was in high school, and I was like, and it was like original parts, new models was like the slogan. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, what are we doing here? and it just revamped it for me. I was like, dude, this is good. They're taking it up a notch. And I think it all picked up for me was when The Rock came in on the fifth one, because the fifth one is a whole different level, man. Like the fifth one is amazing. Honestly, like I feel like everyone, once The Rock came in, it really did like launch off even more.
Well, the fifth one is like, it's no longer about street racing. They're like superheroes who saved the world.
I wouldn't say
and it's completely ridiculous.
There's still criminals in the fifth one. I mean, they're still robbing.
There's a lot.
Whoa.
Right, but there's always
Why is it ridiculous?
I don't see it ridiculous. But
What do you mean?
You don't think that there's teams of street racers out there saving the world / robbing people all the time? Because I truly believe that this is a regular occurrence, and I'm pretty sure all 8 of these movies are based on a true story.
I agree with Brandon.
I guess that's true.
I agree with Brandon. But
I don't know what I was thinking. I'm sorry.
No, yeah. I mean, they're just, I don't know. And honestly, like, joking aside, obviously they're blockbuster movies and stuff, but I just think they're a great time. Like, every time I go to see them in theaters with friends and stuff, like, everyone has, it doesn't matter how ridiculous it is, because we know each movie gets more and more ridiculous, but you just can't go in there without smiling and, like, laughing and having a good time, you know? Like, you know what you're getting yourself into, so.
Yeah.
I will say, yeah, that's totally true for like the later part of the film. But for today, when what we're talking about is the third one, the Tokyo Drift movie,
right.
And I wrote a big old question: why? You know, you mentioned it, Marlon, about how they were just trying to kind of do like something new, none of the original actors, whatever. Because actually, I do truly like a standalone film. The first Fast and Furious was cool. It was a good story. It was like, okay, cool. It's like street racing, whatever. But like the third one, we rewatched it last night, and I don't get it, because it's kind of like in that dead period of like, what the hell is happening?
Well, Marlon
the hellhole of the mid 2000s.
Well, Marlon just made a really good point. I kind of forgot that this is how they had come out. Because so the first one came out, massive hit, right? And the second one came out, and I actually really liked the second one. I hadn't thought about it in a while until Marlon just mentioned it. But I really like that one. But when you look back, Vin Diesel's not even in that one. Mm-hmm. And then, did Tokyo Drift come out in theaters, or was it straight to DVD?
Nah, it came out in theaters.
It came out in theaters?
Yeah.
Because, but Marlon's right. But it was almost like its own things after. And then Vin Diesel came back on and I think like started executive producing them and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
from what the ones after are totally, it's a whole thing. Well, I forgot that there's a break there.
I think it's so interesting how he got back involved. So he wasn't, that like cameo was a reshoot at the end.
Oh, really?
Like they did test screenings and everybody was like, this is fucking stupid, because it is. And we'll get into why. But then the studio was like, Vin, please film a cameo. And he was like, I'll only do it if you give me the rights to Riddick. And that's how he got to keep making the Riddick movies. Because they had made Pitch Black in like 2000 or 99 or something like that. Which is like it's okay. And then, but he knew that he could make fucking bank if they gave him that character. And so that's what they did. He filmed the cameo, which must have taken 30 minutes.
Oh,
and then they gave him the rights to Riddick. And then, now Brandon, he's like, I think a big producer on the Furious stuff, and he's in all the movies, and now they're about something that they completely weren't before, and it's totally changed into the Avengers.
I think
which is
better
fine.
Than the Avengers, but that's just me.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
Oh my god, Marlon, are you good? You're on mic right now. You realize that?
People are going to
listen.
You can quote me on that. That's for the record.
Oh shit. Okay. Okay.
What are your Shit, I completely lost my train of thought. But talking about the third one, because we said it was like 06, right? Like is it even worth going around the table and virtual table and saying our initial thoughts? We kind of know what we all...
I know. I think it's valuable. We're coming back to it as adults. It's been...
That's true.
14 years since the movie came out, since I last saw
Marlon,
it.
before we get too into it, so we're like, our initial thoughts. Like, what do we thought? I will start. What do we think? Sorry, proper grammar. I saw it with you guys, and I thought it was meh. I thought there was some shots that were cool with the whole drifting thing, because you don't see drifting a lot. But I think in terms of just the quality of the movie and the franchise, I think it's definitely the weakest one out of the 10, 9 that are out. So that's my opinion.
Counterpoint, Brandon.
Yes, you can see my facial expressions. I see. Counterpoint. This movie bangs. This movie's awesome. Super fun. Super just nostalgic. I remember loving this movie when it came out. I loved it. Yeah, man. I don't know. It feels like very, and I've been saying this a lot recently. I feel like, but it's this random kid. He goes to Tokyo, can't speak the language, falls into the crew. I was like, oh, this is like an anime movie, and I'm in.
Well, by kid, you mean random 30-year-old person.
Hey, yes.
Dude, he's a high
He's a
schooler.
30-year-old man attempting to be, 17 or whatever it is.
Well, yeah.
Because he's underage.
Yes,
so he's 17.
Yeah, that was a lie that they put in there. Can we talk about Bow Wow?
Yes, we can. But let's. Yes.
Twinkie.
Okay,
He's coming back.
We'll get there.
They
We'll get
cast
to
him in
that.
F9.
Anyways,
so he's coming back.
My point is, he actually?
Yeah, I
Oh,
saw that
I'm
on
so
Wikipedia last
happy.
night.
That's the best news I've ever heard. Okay, well, okay.
What is 9 going to be? Just like the reunion?
Yeah,
movie?
it's the Avengers. It's Avengers Endgame.
Well, because I do want to talk about
It'll be better
Han
than
at
Endgame.
some point.
Oh,
I
wait.
wanted to-
We gotta,
Yes, totally.
I feel like for Han, we gotta wait because that's a huge, long
Yeah, but-
conversation.
That's going to
But
take you.
Details.
I mean, look, that was even as a kid, the first time I saw it, like that guy as Han is by a wide margin the best in the movie.
Dude, for
so I
sure.
wasn't surprised.
It's not even really close.
Pardon?
Yeah.
It's not even close.
No.
He's the best actor in the movie.
Yeah, it's not even close. And then, so I wasn't surprised to see him, come back in the other movies, but I'm very excited about all of that. And
Even though it makes no fucking sense. But anyway, sorry.
Caleb,
All right.
it all makes
I'm going to
sense.
toss it over.
Well, all right. Real quick, Caleb, thoughts quick.
Yeah.
Just because in one word.
Oh, it's bad. It's so incredibly dated. Like every aspect of it is so firmly rooted in 2005, like when it was made. Like it's edited really poorly. All the acting is bad. I mean, we talked about Han, fine, but like the vast majority of the performances are very stilted, and you can tell they must have been like rewriting the script every day. Like they didn't know I don't know. It made no sense. It was edited very poorly. The special effects aged like shit.
yeah, they did not
like
age well.
It's offensive. Like it's just the whole. It's
Okay,
like the
that's fair.
fetishization of Asia
Yeah,
is like
also fair.
so fucking gross, and they have to like populate the fucking main cast with all these like white people. Like the main girl has to be. They like made it like really convoluted that she's actually from Australia. Like for like fucking no reason other than just you got to have white people in the leads. Like it just was so gross and like. And just like the fucking Kid Rock music and like the hard, disgusting edge, like dad rock shit. Like it just was bad. I fucking didn't think it was really that good at all.
Counterpoint, Marlon.
Yeah.
Counterpoint.
Marlon,
Marlon.
thoughts?
Here's my thing. I give him credit for being creative in the sense that I've never seen a drift movie of any kind. So I think taking that route is something interesting and something new for sure that they brought to the screen. I don't think it's the best one from the franchise. It's definitely not my favorite, but it's something new. And I mean, yeah, Caleb thinks the special effects were bad and stuff, but it was 2006. It is what it is. I don't think the acting is that bad. I mean, if you look at a lot of these actors, they're still working today. I feel like it was a big boost for everyone.
Which
that was
ones?
DK, the main lead, both the guy and the girl. Like, they're
Lucas Black, the main guy's on some fucking NCIS
That's work,
spinoff.
bro. That's
Like,
Whatever.
great, good
That's
for him.
dope. Yeah, it's
That's
work.
work.
Also, we've been
He's
over
getting
this
paid.
before.
Yeah, but there's a difference between like working and then like being on like, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to be a good actor to be on NCIS. Like that's what I'm saying.
okay.
Like, and also with the special effects, sorry, I won't do this that much, but like 2001 came out in 1968 and it looks fucking beautiful. Like being like saying that it was like 2006 like came out like 14 years ago is not a fucking excuse. That CGI is dated as shit. It looks so bad.
What CGI?
Like,
It was all
and you can-
practical.
Oh my god. That shot with them like that exposition scene where they're like swerving down the mountain and she's like, this is where all the kids come to drift after high school. and they're all like, and it's just like so fucking bad. And like anytime they get close to like a corner, like you can tell it's like really just fucking
Or even
awful.
them like racing through the crowd of like the literally the busiest intersection in the world. And you can tell that the camera was just
that
like
crowd perfectly like parts.
perfectly parted. You can tell that it was just like a CGI green screen, like populated by computer people. Because of the way the camera followed the car through the crowd, it like the camera was obviously hitting people. It was almost like what you see in like video games, like sports games, right? It was very much that kind of quick angle, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's definitely noticeable on an HD TV, you know.
Also, nothing about that scene makes sense now after the last like 3 movies, when it's like, oh yeah, no, the guy that hit Han is what's his name?
Little did we know it's actually Jason Statham.
Also, like, I was looking and I was like, that's not the car that they have Jason Statham cutting out of later. I'm pretty sure. I was like, what is happening?
If we're just gonna jump ahead and talk about this, canonically, this movie takes place in 2013. So why does everybody have shitty flip phones?
Yeah.
And like, why is everybody dressed in like fashion that doesn't make sense? You know, it just makes my fucking blood boil. It's so fucking annoying.
The Han stuff, man. So yeah, they went and super retroactively changed that entire scene and made it.
Yeah, Marlon, can you make the chronology make sense to us, please?
Yeah. So 2 things. First of all, real quick, the reason they changed the Han thing was because the audience loved him so much that they want to bring him back. So
obviously.
Totally. So that's that. You know, you can't be mad at the studio for that. You know. Second.
What do you mean?
Whoa.
I thought
I'm not saying that's the best part.
I thought Caleb was gonna say because it doesn't make sense. He was saying it doesn't. I'm like, it doesn't make sense, but they did it.
It doesn't make sense.
No, but it does. It does, Caleb. It does. Because they're
doing
it
it
for
saying
people.
Explain how it does.
We'll give Marlon his space.
Okay, wait.
Hold on.
So yeah, the order goes the first Fast and Furious, and Too Fast, Too Furious, then Fast and Furious, which is the 4th one, then Fast 5, Fast and Furious 6. Tokyo Drift after Fast and Furious 6, then Furious 7, and then Fast and Furious 8. Yeah, that's the order.
Dope.
So it's all in order. It's all in order except 3 is actually 7.
Yeah. 3. Well, 3 and it's like 6, 3, and 7 are kind of all together simultaneously. If you think about it, like the ending of 6 leads to 3,
if you think
which
about it,
takes place during 7 as well.
Oh, I see.
Oh, so okay.
You get what I'm saying?
And
Gotcha.
Han isn't alive except in the trailer for the one that hasn't come out, right? Like he's not actually in any of the movies that have been released after he died.
He wasn't in 7. Well, he died in 7 technically, but no, he wasn't in 7
That's
or
what I'm
8.
saying.
But yeah, he's back in
Yes.
9. He's back in 9.
And now somehow
we
which totally ruins the big dramatic moment of this movie.
Which is so interesting because like they don't have room to introduce time travel like Marvel can.
They've been to fuck. They're going to go to space, and they've been to fuck. They've saved the world from a virus. Like they can do anything. They're superheroes now.
Dude,
there's a line in the one that The Rock first appears in, and he's like, he literally like the camera zooms in on him, and he's like, "Whatever you do, don't let them get into their cars." Like that's the source of their fucking power.
I love it.
Like it's just fucking ridiculous.
Love it.
And it's fine. I'm not saying that you can't make movies like that and and that's not what I'm saying. It's just like when you look at the first one, like that's an idea that somebody had. Like that's a movie that somebody wanted to make. It's like undercover cops,
you know what?
Illegal street racing. That's interesting.
Actually, even more so, the director of the first one and writer, it's the guy who had done, if I'm not mistaken, they talk about all this in the Paul Walker documentary. But it was the guy who had done the Skulls. And that was like one of his first bigger roles. And the guy was talking about how Paul Walker's got that. There's a scene where him and Joshua Jackson are in this cage thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he does a really good job. And the director was talking about it, and he was like, that was the moment I was like, oh, this kid's an actor. And then so he told Paul Walker that he was like, you know, I'm going to have something for you in the next thing. And he kept bugging him. And Paul Walker was like, what is it? What is it? And then he was like, all right, we're doing this thing. I want to do a car movie and like a detective thing. And then we took it to the studio. Something like Paul Walker had a studio deal. So they took this and they were like, yeah. And so because Paul Walker was into cars, it was like written around and for him.
Oh, wow.
Which is great because that's something that somebody like wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then it makes a lot of money. And then you have to just keep making more and more and bigger. And now it's a thing.
Yeah.
And they have to, and it's just becomes something that's like, to me, it just feels so like, I don't know, man. Like it feels false, like nothing, you know. And you can have the fucking Vin Diesel and all this shit. And he's like, we're a family, and Tyrese, and it's like, oh, Ludacris was like the fucking minor guy from the second one, but now we're gonna have him come back, and it just seems like they're just grasping at straws and trying to just throw shit at the wall, and like
I will say they have been consistent though. The last, like, if they're gonna do ridiculousness, whatever, like keep.
I'm glad they leaned into it. Like, I'm glad that they're leaning into it being ridiculous, because but like I don't know, I think like Vin takes it really seriously. Like, I don't think he knows that everybody's like laughing at him.
Well, there's all that.
You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
There's all
the shit between him and The Rock.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's that beef with him. There's that video of The Rock slapping the shit out of Tyrese. A lot of shit from that set.
Tyrese is like lots of drama. Like, he gets in fights with people all the time.
Yeah.
But there's like certain pieces that when you think of Fast and Furious, you can kind of track it through all the movies, even including like Tokyo Drift. Like, there were the women that were like in short skirts, whatever. There's the weird tinny like hip hop music that was similar to the Too Fast Too Furious track that Ludacris did. But then like you have Bow Wow in there, which we talked about last night. Like, why didn't he do a track for it? And then you had the cars. You have the import versus the American muscle. Like, there's these classic like. You kind of have to do this for, Fast and Furious movies, but then it's like, but where does it fall?
Right.
Or like, how do you keep using those tropes or those vehicles?
You know how you do it? You
vehicles.
make a Hulk car. That's what you do.
Dude, wait, you know what's so funny to me though? The first Fast and Furious had Ja Rule. The second one had Ludacris, and the third one had Bow Wow. It's like,
so upgrades at each step of the way.
Ja Rule has that great scene in the first one where he's losing, and he's like, it's like the girl has like bet him or whatever, and he's like, "No, Monica." Yeah. It's like the best line read ever.
Oh my god, yo!
There were tons of awful line reads in this movie.
I think Caleb at one point was like, "That was your best take." There was this one line where
I forget what he said. It was the main guy, and he said like, he was flirting with the girl, and he said something awful and stupid.
Oh yeah, the one where he's like
barely put any effort into writing.
He's in the parking garage.
It's the one where he's like, let me guess, you're an army brat, right? And goes on this whole like little speech about it, and then she's like, no.
That was also terrible, but it was even before that. He says something to her, and I don't remember. But yeah, that fucking the worst actor though. The worst part of it was the girl in the beginning, the blonde girl. She was like,
can we talk about that?
With the guy from Home Improvement,
yeah.
So the kid from Home Improvement, who you like, that kid's. I don't want to talk about him.
That's what Josh said. Josh was like, "Oh, he's the guy from Home
Improvement." Yeah, you can't knock him. He did whatever, like 10 seasons.
Yeah, of course.
That. He's hilarious. They were, they're great in that all the way through. That scene is so fucking ridiculous in every way, shape, and form. Like, first of all, was it really okay at that point to have this scene with this girl being like, "Yeah, whoever wins me." And then also, by the way, if you're that guy in high school and that's your girlfriend, you should break up right away. Don't race the other guy. Just leave and be like, this relationship's over. That's really fucked up. Don't race, leave, go home.
I thought you loved me. Why aren't you winning this car race?
Two things. Remember, she was like, I thought you loved me when he was losing, and we were like, what? Yeah. But the other thing is in the opening sequence when we see the kid getting bullied,
when he doesn't,
and then he just walks away.
We laughed really hard at that.
We're like, what is this?
He had the opportunity to save that fat kid, and then all the other 30-year-old men in the scene were like, "Oh no, the big 30-year-old guy is going to beat us up," and he was like, "Nah."
But it's so interesting because you have like bad stereotypes of high schoolers. Like, it's not even like. Even things like with like Scary Movie and things like that, like, yeah, they kind of were making caricatures of like these like these characters or these social types in high school, but like with this movie, it was just okay. It's the football group; they have those generic jerseys on. And it's like homecoming, or it's like whatever kind of like the Friday night game or Friday afternoon, and then they're football players, but then he throws a baseball. Caleb mentioned into the guy's car, but then it's like this whole thing, but then you're kind of introducing this world, and he sees a guy like getting bullied, and I'm just sitting there going, in 2006, like, yeah, I guess we kind of had a different look on like these kind of things, but was it a vehicle for, you could maybe say that, to show his growth as a person, but it never comes back.
What do you mean it never comes back? Later on, he's like,
his dad's
like, yeah, and his dad's like, you have to leave, and he's like, I can't. This is my problem. I gotta fix it. I can't leave. It comes around
No,
totally.
but he
all
like,
super
but he,
serious,
he
like.
says it in
stops Bow Wow getting
Oh,
beat
that's
up.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Oh,
in
and
the
then,
midpoint.
And then Bow Wow's like,
he does
fuck you,
grow.
man. Now everybody's going to want refunds.
Right.
It's so good.
No, I can't sell my iPods.
He was the best. Like,
But then he's like totally fine. Like his character was, he was like annoyed sometimes, but then he was like his friend sometimes.
yeah.
It's almost like they were inconsistently written.
But at the same time,
Or
by the way,
something.
Bow Wow is another one of those guys that like I mean, I could watch him in a movie all day. He's like, I never have a problem with him acting. He's very natural. Like, yeah, I don't know. I like Bow Wow. I mean,
Natural.
I think he's
I know, there
natural,
was
man, when he's out there.
I don't think Bow Wow's bad.
There was a moment where he did very much like
my
just,
gosh.
I'm going to throw my hands up to show exasperation, but that's
Yeah, but I mean,
just a slight indication.
I
you know.
look, you guys remember Like Mike?
yeah.
Because like, come on,
That was a little funny callback because like the first time we see him, he's like, look, I got Air Jordans.
Right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, the other movie that
You know, he
in.
was supposed to be like when Like Mike came out and all of that. He was supposed to be a ridiculously good basketball player, like in real life.
Sure.
Yeah, they always said that like he was supposed to be like, and then he just never grew and shit. But he was supposed to be unreal.
I feel you, Bow Wow. I was in the same position.
You were balling.
I had unreal ball potential on the court, and then then I stopped growing taller. Marlon, I feel like we've kind of not given you enough space. I want you to start like explaining to me why I'm wrong about this movie being shit.
Well, I mean, it depends on the way you're viewing it, Caleb. Like, if you're just watching a movie, like, just to watch it, then it's not a bad movie. Like, it has a story, it has interesting characters, I think. It has nice cars, it has races. The soundtrack could be a little bad, but it's not the worst. You know, you're still digging with it. And I don't know.
Remember the whistle
I
song?
was going to say, with the Evo right there, you just see the whistle song of the Evo.
Well, what I mean is that it's when I mean dated, it's like there are movies that you can watch that feel timeless because it's like, you know, not so rooted. Like that was just like what pop songs are on the radio that we can stick on.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it feels fucking dated because nobody's really listening to that shit anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like all of the visual stuff, like it feels dated because that's like what was happening in action movies at the time. Like it's not creative decisions. It's just like, what can we do to make it like get money at the box office right now? So of course it feels fucking dated. Like in, you know, yes, like you can be forgiving to special effects, I guess, if you want to, but like, you know, just because like things have gotten better doesn't mean I'm watching this and I'm believing it. Like it still looks bad. Like I'm noticing these effects.
Okay.
Like are very like, and if this is supposed to be an action movie where it's like, look at the fucking cool racing, and it's like just fucking like cutting every 2.5 seconds, and I can't fucking focus on anything, and the special effects are bad. It's like, what do you want me to get out of this? You know what I mean? I agree that there's potential in the story. I think if maybe they had a better screenwriter and didn't like rely on like cliches, there could be like something maybe interesting there. I think like Han is an interesting character. And like we said, he's like the best actor for sure. But like, I don't know, man. I don't agree with the concept that like there's a mutually exclusive thing between like entertainment and art. I think you can make like entertaining things that are also like good. That's just me though.
No, I mean, look,
I have a very, this isn't my kind of movie anyway.
I agree with you. I mean, you could make both, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I think I saw this interview with what's his name, Hugh Laurie and Colin Farrell. Hugh Laurie's no, not Hugh Laurie. I'm sorry, Hugh Grant. Right, Hugh Grant. Is Hugh Grant the one?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Hugh Grant's the one that did
Mr. Romcom.
Yes, he did.
Notting Hill.
Yeah. And what's the other one? The Bridget Jones Diary, right? That's him. Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
Sure.
9 months pregnant, right? Too.
He was in every romantic comedy from 1990 to like 2010. So
Right. I saw this interview with him and Colin Farrell. They were like interviewing each other, the actors on actors, and he was talking about how like, you know, between art and entertainment, and I don't know. I think it's interesting because yes, they were saying like we're all artists, but at the same time, we're in the entertainment business. We do have to entertain people. I agree with you. I think you could have both, and you could also do your own independent art stuff as well, which there is a crowd for that and people do like it. But a lot of people like blockbusters, you know, and like this is one of those movies where it, you know, people know it's silly and they just want to see it. So I do see what you're saying because we're in the inside of it, you know, we're actors and we do like that arty stuff. But just from like a person, like if I wasn't an actor or part of the arts or anything, I would see this movie and I'd be like, dude, this is amazing, right? Because I don't know any better. I'm not really inside of it. You know, now having experience in the field and everything, and, you know, being your friend and you being a writer, obviously it has flaws and stuff. But when I see these kinds of movies, I just watch in the perspective of like, forget it. I'm not an actor. I'm just a little kid. I want to see explosions. I want to see the cars. You know, maybe the special effects are bad, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it's just like a fun movie, you know? And you're right. It is, there are scenes that are bad and you're just like, this is terrible. But, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is, you know? It's just like, let's go in there and have fun type of thing.
Well, and just to kind of, because I agree completely, and to add on to that a little bit, in this movie specifically, right, where it is exactly that, it's a movie just for, you know, just for fun and all of that, there aren't those artsy moments to be had. And then there is this moment with Han where he gets this little monologue. They put it in a close-up, they leave it, there's no special effects or anything, and any way you cut it, you remove that scene, he's killing it, it lands, and it's a good scene. And so, like, you know, even for me, feeling, Marlon, like exactly how you felt through it, being like, I'm not watching this as like, as I would watch, like, you know, Peaky Blinders and trying to break down like Cillian Murphy's work or whatever. I'm just watching this being like, sick cars, I want to go buy Nas now. And like, but then, and then I'm watching it, and then this moment with Han happens, and he does the whole, you know, little explanation and the whole, you know, you make choices and then keep going or whatever it was, and it lands, and it has that artistic moment. So there's, what I'm saying is there's places in blockbuster movies to have those artistic moments.
Right. I will also say,
but I think,
oh no, go ahead, Josh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, Marlon, you go.
I was just going to say, like, there's also, like, Brandon, what you're saying, there's also different ways to put, like, you know, artistic things. And I know Caleb is probably going to, you know, counter this and hate it, but like,
I see your big smile. I can't wait.
It's just like, you know, thinking of images and like, you know, the colors of the cars and things that like are vibrant to people in the eyes. Like that's just a different way to be creative and artistic. Like things pop in this movie, you know, that's one way of being creative and saying, you know what, for this, I want the people to like think this, like, dude, a Hulk car. Who would have thought of? I would have never, like, dude, that shit pops out. It has,
dude. Exhibit would have thought of that on Pit My Ride. That's the
well, no. To your point, Marlon, what I will say is, I think like it was a good decision to hire. I think it was really cool that they hired Justin Lin.
That's my guy.
You give you kind of hand this big fucking franchise to this like Asian American director, and like seemingly let him kind of do his thing. And like, yeah, there's a like, sure, like the cars like are very distinct from each other, so it's easy to like track like in the big races like who's where, and that is something that like I don't give a shit about cars, like I don't care, like I've never been a car person, but I can see why that's like something that you would appreciate about this movie that does well, is like the attention to detail about like the actual mechanics of like the drifting and the car specs and all of that stuff, like that for sure is done well. But I also feel like in a movie about car racing, that's like kind of the bare minimum you have to do. Like I feel like I don't think they should get like special points for that, because it's like, yeah, if you don't do that, then you're extra an asshole. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's like, of course, like this is a car racing movie, so I would expect that from this.
Right.
But then it could also be done really badly. Like the Transformers movies are so fucking you can't fucking tell the one robot from the next robot, and all the action's poorly done, and you don't know what's happening.
I mean, that's a completely different like.
But I'm saying this is like a good example of like how like that's done actually well. Right.
Well, and you can also argue that like even like the first Transformers, when that like that idea first,
you spend the whole time with fucking Shia LaBeouf anyway, so it
exactly,
doesn't matter.
And Megan Fox, but like. But to your point, Brandon, too, about and Marlon, about just like Han, right? That actor, and like seeing his work, you know, that saved the movie, in my opinion. Yeah. You know, having him anchor essentially every single scene that all you have to do is put him casually sitting on the hood of a car, snacking away, which was his own choice as an actor to create some behavior, you know? And that's something as a director, I'd want out of my actors to take. You know, if you come to me on set and be like, hey, like I had this little bag of like Ritz crackers or whatever, and if I was just like kind of, you know, popping, you know, just snacking as the scene's going on, do you mind that? No, not at all. Let's see what it looks like. And what you get is this characteristic that is like iconic now and synonymous with Han on screen, but it also kind of grounds him, and and that's what they needed, because everybody else was just trying to like be part of this like movie franchise and be like kind of, over the top, like, yeah, this is crazy, we're gonna drift, we're gonna be dramatic and stuff like that, but he didn't do anything, and I think that's why he didn't do anything, meaning his is more subtle and simpler work.
Yeah.
That's what it draws your focus. That's what we mean.
Well,
when
it's
we
very
like,
easy to appear natural when you're eating.
Yeah.
Like, because you're not thinking. That's like Brad Pitt's trick. Like in Ocean's 11 and other movies, you'll always be munching on stuff. It's a very easy way to appear very natural.
Yeah.
People do it all the time. Fucking Robert Downey Jr. eats all the time. Yeah, like Avengers and shit like that.
One of the best clips ever is him just in the scene where and like very famously now they came out being like, yeah, he keeps hiding snacks all over the place on set in the scenes. So like there's one scene where they're all talking in the room and he just pulls out a thing of blueberries and like offers them to people in the middle of the scene. You see like Chris Evans being like, no, like as Captain America in the middle of the conversation. Like, it's so good.
There's definitely room in these kind of seemingly just entertainment type movies to have those grounded kind of, more nuanced performances. Right. Definitely. And I see what you mean, Marlon. Like whenever I go to these movies, I think I missed the middle couple, like in the theater. I didn't see this in the theater at all. But when I went back to them like 5 and 6, I was like, this makes me want to like, I miss my manual shift, and I want to like drive down the highway really fast. Like it's just kind of fun to turn your brain off. And that was before I really got my undergraduate degree in acting and directing and went to grad school, whatever, before I really started pursuing it. But yeah, turning your mind off and knowing that there's a vast majority of the population who just go to these movies to escape and to not think about work and the shit in their life and just to have fun, So there is merit to that.
I think it can be both.
No, it can. No, we're not saying it
But
can't.
the other thing is,
like last year, the fucking biggest movie in the world was Parasite. Everybody fucking connected with it. It's a great fucking story, and it's like shot incredibly well. All the acting is great. It's interesting. It's shot well. It took over the fucking planet.
Wait, and your question is, why didn't that happen with Tokyo Drift?
What we're saying, Caleb, is that we're not saying that it has to be one or the other. We're agreeing with you. It can be both. We're just saying there also is, you have to allow room for, as much as you scoff at these just entertainment blockbuster movies, that's a valid area of movie.
Who you're targeting, who's your audience and stuff. We know that Fast and Furious is literally for like just people who just love entertainment. They're blockbuster movies, right? People don't want to just think or anything. Like Parasite, when it first came out, it was like an indie film. It was like in the IFC theater. It wasn't really out yet. When I saw it at AMC for free because they were giving out tickets. I was like, yeah, and I wanted to see it. But a lot of people didn't know about it until it started blowing up. And like with these movies, you already know who they are targeted for. And you already know that it's Fast and Furious. Everyone's going to see it. No one really cares about what the message is in the movie or like what these certain characters are. They just want to see cars explode, cars race, action and things like that. So
yeah, I mean, it's a great way to make money if you're like a studio.
But wait, Caleb, here's the other thing.
Like, I don't know.
But as an actor, like, forget about the critic and you and all that. As an actor, you're telling me you wouldn't want to be in a Fast and Furious movie? I'm talking about, like, it'll be mad fun. Think about how much fun these people are having on set.
So fun. Like, so fun.
I feel like as an actor...
as somebody who's poor, I would take the money because it's like...
What if...
Of course, you would fucking do that. I'm not going to say like I'm above taking a paycheck from fucking Universal.
But I'm saying like,
as somebody who like really, really cares about art and who like really, really wants to be an artist, like the stuff that I'm going to do is different than this. And I feel like, it's like a chef.
Yeah.
Like if all you eat is junk food, you're not going to know how to cook a steak. Like you got to be able to like take in like,
that's fair.
You got to be able to take in stuff that wins the Palme d'Or. You got to be able to take in like the shit that like, I don't know. That's how I just feel like people settle, I think is what it is. I think people are told like, this is what is on the fucking big Cinemaplex screens. Right. This is what, it costs $18 fucking dollars. So you better pick your fucking movie wisely. Right. This is fun. There's flashing lights, it's eye candy, and people fucking settle. Yeah. Because they're like, okay, this is what all the fucking Rotten Tomatoes, everybody loves it. I guess this is good. It'll be good for my fucking kids. Yeah. It's like when you watch a shitty fucking Disney movie and it's like, or you could have them watch Miyazaki. It's like the same thing but better.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's
like,
the other thing.
Yeah, you can go.
I think people have to do their.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, people do have to do their research when it comes to it. I mean, you know, you can't. I think you're right about that. People do settle, and they also settle for like what other people think and say. Like Rotten Tomatoes, you know, a lot of people do go off about that. Like, you know, they base their decisions
Rotten
for movies.
Tomatoes fucking sucks.
Yeah, I don't like any. Every time Rotten Tomatoes says something is terrible, I'm like, this movie is fucking amazing. Or when they say something is amazing, I'm like, nah, this is terrible. But I mean, to each their own. I think you just have to do your own research, like you're saying. You can't settle for it. But I will say this about settling. I don't think I've settled into this franchise at all, bro. Like, I saw the first one, and I thought, like, if I rewatch the first one, I'd be like, okay, it's a classic because it's the first one. But it's not the best one. I wish they could have done a little more. It was only one race, and then the rest was, like, just drama and just, like, you know, dialogue. It wasn't that much action. The second one was okay. It was a little more, but it wasn't it didn't really improve. The third one, different story completely. You know, they changed it. But then once the fourth one came out, the fifth one topped it. The sixth one came out, it topped the fifth one. The seventh one came out. It just keeps getting better for me. So, I mean,
yeah,
I feel like as an audience person, like we ask for more in these movies and we keep getting it. And that's like, you know, I don't know.
Well, no, if you know how to cater to your fucking audience and give them what they want, then like that's also great.
Well, and then
I'm not
I
saying
mean, the best example of that too is like Hobbs and Shaw, right?
Oh my
That's
god!
that's my movie.
You know?
That's my movie.
Where it's just billed as like, hey, from the producers of Fast and Furious, like
Exactly.
this is like a standalone.
Yeah, it's that
taking these characters that people love and putting them together.
If
Which
you liked
it was
these
a great.
scenes from Fast and the Furious, you're
you're
gonna
gonna
love
this movie.
But isn't that also just because like Vin Diesel and The Rock don't get along?
Yeah.
So The Rock was like, I want to do my own thing, and
Yeah.
Jason Statham's like, I'll come.
No, well, the reason is because people like
he was just making the Meg.
people. Yeah, oh my god, no, people like the relationship
which
they
is
had
great.
in the Fast and Furious 8 movie. So they got their own
Sure.
spin-off. I mean, look, yeah, all I'm saying is that like I love the Hobbs and Shaw thing. I think they're gonna definitely keep going because it's making money. But if I don't see The Rock in Fast and Furious 10, I'm gonna be disappointed in the whole franchise. Like that's it. I won't watch it ever again.
Do you think they're gonna call it FX?
Dude.
There's no way they can
copyrights.
call it FX.
Copyrights.
You can't. Yeah, there's no
Why
way.
not?
I mean,
Why
copyright.
not? You can't copyright a title.
FX is a network.
Yeah, it's a network.
Yeah, but it's not the name of a movie title.
I know, but do you really want to piss
okay.
off a whole network just to name your movie then?
They make more money than God every year.
That's
They
true.
can do whatever they want.
Wait, how much does God make?
Not that much.
I don't know, man. The Vatican?
I mean,
Vatican's
dude,
making money, bro.
he was executive producer.
He didn't get credit from I Married a Church Girl.
I was gonna say.
No back end on that?
No back end, dude. He took a net. He took net profit, which like studios write off. You always go for gross, not net. That's true. That's real.
Is that real?
Yeah, because of studio fuckery. Marlon, I'm not trying to like shit on anybody, and I'm not trying to say people like anything other than like, you know, I think it's great that you love this shit and that you find something to like love about it, and like every time it like gives you exactly what you want. It's not for me,
Right.
and I feel like what I get frustrated with is like, I'm like, well, like all of these things. And then I'm not saying people can't enjoy those things, but what I feel like is like people turn around and be like, it's just dumb. Like, why can't you just have fun? Like, it's like, I'm an asshole for having a different
Right.
taste.
No.
And I'm not saying I got that from you or anybody
No.
on this call at all. I'm not saying that.
I just,
But it's like, there's this discrepancy where it's like, you're allowed to like, quote unquote, like just turn your brain off.
Right.
But if I'm like, but look at this fucking
I
like
was
4
just
hour
gonna
like
say
art
that,
house
yeah.
thing. And it's like, that's fucking boring and stupid.
no,
It's like, what?
I get what you're saying with that because it does make sense. If it was the other way around, like let's say what's a good movie I just saw? Oh, like Birds of Passage, I think. Is it? That's a Colombian.
Yeah, you were telling me.
Yeah, Birds of Passage. Like if I were to watch that with like people who just watch like Fast and Furious movie, they'd be like, dude, turn this shit off. It's so boring. It's like, wait. So like I agree with you saying. You could be like, oh, Fast and Furious is dumb, and people would be like, why is it dumb? Like it's just a blockbuster movie. But then if someone says, you know, this movie is dumb. How is this dumb? Like, why can't you respect it the same way? No, I get what you're saying, Caleb. I do.
Yeah,
and
I don't like that.
and
standard.
the thing is,
but
though,
you didn't. No, you're not doing
no,
that.
no.
I'm not
I
saying that you're
absolutely
doing that.
no. Of course not. But I agree with you. I mean, I think, and that's the unfortunate part about being an artist and an actor is that, you know, we get to see the beautiful things that people really don't, and people don't want to see. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of people just want to see entertainment. You know, it's only really the artists and the creators and like that creative process where you want to see, you know, certain colors and certain images in a movie shot like this, because we understand what the process is, we understand what goes behind it. You know, we understand the story and like what it actually means to get there, to do that. And unfortunately, not a lot of people have that insight, and they just, I guess, don't want to open their mind to it. But no, I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think there's like and kind of what you were saying, Caleb, there's an innate amount of effort, you know, that needs to go into something like that, you know, as opposed to like waking up this morning to watch Tokyo Drift before the podcast. I was like, all right, Tokyo Drift, let's go. But like when we were watching whatever White Materials or something like that, it's a very different experience. Like I'm watching that with headphones on. I'm engaged. I'm taking notes. I'm watching Tokyo Drift, chilling out with coffee, being like, yeah, Tokyo Drift. All
That's
right,
exactly.
dope.
It's a different.
That's such a good point.
And Marlon,
you know,
no, but
I just.
Sorry, Josh. Go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna. I just wanted to comment to you, and that was beautifully said. So thank you.
Yeah,
you know, we need a lot more of that, of like just people opening their minds to different points of view and different things.
Well, that's the other thing that like Brandon just said that's actually, he said it well, is that the experience and like feeling, right? When we see movies like Tokyo Drift and like Fast and Furious, you know, you're not going in there for feeling anything or the experience. You're just going in there to have fun. But like when you watch real movies, like A24 movies and independent films and stuff, like you really, you feel for the characters, you understand them, you know, you're in there for an experience. Like, it's not like watching theater live, because that's a whole different experience, but it's like you're actually, it's similar to it in the sense that you're actually feeling for these people, and like it's actually a journey that you're going through as a person, you know?
Yeah, empathy.
Yeah,
for sure.
And
I remember that.
A good movie, generally, like, you know, the things that Caleb's talking about, it leaves you with something to ponder or think about, or with a feeling at the very least. Like, after White Materials, I mean, fortunately, we do a podcast, so I got to talk about it all I wanted, but I tons of thoughts, and especially with, you know, everything going on in the world at the time. But you know, I didn't leave Tokyo Drift being like, whew, it's gonna take me a day to figure out this one. You know?
But
there's so much to unpack.
I also want to ask you a question. I want to ask Caleb, this is for you, but like, because we've been talking about good material and things like that. What is good material? Because I feel like that's kind of an open-ended question for people, and like, you know, what's good material to you? It could be not good material to someone else, and we've been talking about this, but I just want to know, what is good material to you? Like, what do you find as good material?
I think, like, I appreciate anytime there's like, you can watch something and it's like, this person had something to say. Like, this came from a place of like passion. They wanted to tell this story, and they thought about really interesting ways to tell it. These characters feel real. There's like something that I can, you know, obviously, like, technical stuff aside, like that stuff, obviously I love a good shot. I love interesting camera work. Like, I love a good score, like, you know, all of that stuff. But like, I need a story, and I need that story to be ideally, I don't even want to go so far as to say it needs to like be saying something profound, but like, so again, because we were just talking about it. So Parasite, that's like about inequality and about classism, and that's a very real fucking problem that's devastating the planet and cultures everywhere, universally. It's also really fucking fun because all of those characters are really well defined, and there's like a fun like heist, and there's like, you know, there's like, oh, like, you're like, the audience is in on the game. It's like, look at like what's going to happen with these people trying to like do this, and like, it's entertaining, but it's also saying something. And then, you know, halfway through that movie, it becomes a completely different movie, which is like fucking brilliant. Like, what is this movie saying? Tokyo Drift. It's not saying anything. It's just existing to exist to make money.
It's saying,
and that's fine, because if you're along for the ride, all right. And if you get stuff out of that, if you're along for the ride and it entertains you and it lets you forget about the fucking shitty world we live in for 2 hours, then great. Like, I'm not trying to take that away from anybody, but I'm saying you can have that experience and also, you know, be left with a little more like, oh, maybe like I'll leave this movie and I'll think a little more about someone else's circumstances that maybe I wouldn't have thought of before. I'll be introduced to a new point of view that'll make my life better. You know, I think if more people I think the reason that like acting training is so important is because we're taught empathy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's like the single greatest tool we have to actually change things and affect things in the world. And so like that's why art matters, and that's why art is powerful.
Dude, absolutely. I mean,
and so
it's not even just empathy. It's just having just like an open mind about things. Like I said, like before I was in the acting program or like in school with you guys, honestly, looking back, I was just closed-minded. I didn't really have an open mind for anything, you know? It wasn't until being an actor and really having that training and like the discussions with Coco and everything where it's like you start to really view the world differently, you know? You start to have a point of view.
Exactly.
You start to be open and like conscious about things. You have empathy for everyone. You know, you feel everyone, and there's just an understanding for it. And you start to do your own research too, you know, because you're starting to think for yourself and have this point of view. So like, you know, I do think we can have both. I do think people do need to do research, you know, and not just judge certain criterias in certain movies, because at the end of the day, it's art, and, you know, art is subjective, right? It's subjective or objective? Yeah. We're going to have to cut that part out. It's subjective. But,
dude, I do that all the time. I do it all the time.
But I mean, that's why we do it as artists and actors. We do it because, you know, we have this thing in our head that we just want to like keep exploring and keep throwing it out there for people to see and people to understand and just understand us a little bit. And, you know, the more we have movies like that, like you were saying, Caleb, where they have a message, you know, people start to understand just a little tiny more about someone else's situation. And that's great because a lot of people don't really see the world for how it is. They just see it in their own point of view. And that's something that needs to change. But, you know, we could also have these fun movies where everyone can just come in a room and just laugh together and just, you know, think it's ridiculous and still have a good time as well.
Yeah,
definitely.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%, man. On that note, because I don't think we're going to get anything more eloquent out of the rest of us than that.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Do you guys want to rate Tokyo Drift?
I think so.
So Marlon, we rate things out of 5. You don't have to if that's not something you're interested in doing, although I have a feeling I know what you're going to say.
Well, look.
So why don't we let our guest go first if he would like to?
I'm going to give it an 8 just to get Caleb mad. An 8 out of 5.
Hey, 8 out of 5.
But realistically, like out of all of them, if I'm talking about 1 through 8 that came out, I'm going to rate
this movie objectively.
This movie
like a standalone, you just watch this movie. Okay. What would you rate it?
Yeah, what do you think?
On record, I'm going to go 8 out of 5 to get Caleb mad, but then off record, I'm going to go with like a 3.5. Not even. Yeah, 3. I'll give it a 3.
3, okay, but that's off record, so we won't share that. Okay. So 8 out of 5 for Marlon. Brandon.
It's tough, man. It's tough because I enjoy it. Definitely has a soft spot in my heart when I saw it when I was younger. But based on the other rankings and how I've been ranking stuff, right, is how I got to start thinking about it. Right? I got to be consistent here. So I'm gonna give it a 2.5, and I'm gonna feel sad about it. But I want to note
I'm gonna put 2.5 frowny face.
Yes, thank you. Asterisk frowny face, feeling sad about giving it a 2.5.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't worry. I'll make sure that gets on the on the Wikipedia.
Just on the official record.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 2.
Okay.
And Caleb,
I have to like write this shit down.
Caleb is gonna give it a 0.1.
No, I'll probably give it a 2.
All right.
Because as bad as this movie is,
you were having a good time.
As bad as The Dark Tower.
Yo, I still haven't seen it. I gotta watch it. Is it really that bad?
No, you don't,
dude. Idris Elba, Matthew McConaughey. Come on, it's my guys.
You can either watch it or you can listen to us argue about it.
I'm gonna watch it and
Marlon,
then
watch it and then listen to the podcast.
Marlon, for context, I don't think I've ever walked out of a movie with Brandon that he said that was bad. He loves everything, and he gave it a 1.5.
Yeah,
really?
I was pissed.
Oh man.
So
I was pissed.
I guarantee you, I give it a 10.
I don't know, man. It's very
well. If you read the book, then yeah, for sure. I feel like
I don't know. It's
Marlon. Thank you so much for coming on. It was a really fucking awesome conversation.
It was fun. You guys are awesome.
Absolutely.
Keep doing your thing, guys. This is great.
we'll negotiate your like guest contract.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna need about that 500,000 per minute.
Per minute.
Per minute.
Wow, big bucks.
500K
You
per
got that
minute.
Jeff Bezos money?
Right.
Yeah. What do you think we are? We're on Apple, not Amazon. Steve Jobs is dead.
You guys are gonna blow up. This is cool, man. You got like keep it up. This is great. I love this.
Marlon,
Thanks, buddy.
where can people find you if
Yeah.
they want to follow you and see what's up?
People can follow me on Instagram at Caleb John Cushion. Nah. People can find
I
me.
was pissed because he took it. I was like, what the fuck, Marlon? This is my name.
Yeah,
He's like, nah,
or
bro.
my website www.calebjohncushion.com. No, people can
Oh,
follow
yeah.
me.
He took the website too. He took the URL.
On Instagram at Marlon X Quijije. That's MarlonX and then Quijije. And then I'm on Facebook as well, Marlon Quijije. So yeah, follow me and I'll follow you
And
back.
we'll link all your stuff.
Yeah, we'll
In the
make sure to
video and
link it on our MFAers Instagram and the YouTube.
Awesome.
Throw it out there.
Sounds great. Yo, you guys are amazing, man. Keep this up. This is great. I hope
Thanks,
I hope to
buddy.
be invited again for other movies and discussions.
I've been told that I don't have a choice and we'll be doing Justice League when it comes out.
Zack Snyder
Ooh,
cut, or are we doing both?
yeah.
Are we doing
7
Whedon
months,
and Snyder cut?
7-8 months.
No, we're
Yeah.
gonna definitely
Yeah.
have to do Snyder Cut, 100%.
Dude, 6-hour
that's
movie.
the only reason we would do
Caleb
it,
is
yeah.
gonna be so mad watching a 6-hour movie. He's gonna be like, nah.
Totally true. Speaking of Caleb, what are we doing next week? Get it on
Right.
air.
I guess we decided we're doing like the impromptu Tokyo movies.
Yeah, Tokyo themed.
The Tokyo themed movies all of a sudden. So I don't know. I think, Josh, your instincts were right. I think like it's a perfect opportunity to do a Tokyo Story from 1953. Yasujiro Ozu, one of the fucking gods of cinema. It's on the Criterion Channel, so we can all
Awesome.
watch it, and I think
That'd
it'll be a complete fucking 180 from what we just did.
And
I'm here for
you
it.
know what? On that note, Criterion Channel, whatever. Send us an email. We talk about you guys a lot. Maybe some free subscriptions
You
or
guys are
whatever.
really
No big
good,
deal. Shout us out.
Yo,
Whatever.
tune in, Criteria Channel. Tune in.
That'd be really interesting because then we can also with Tokyo Drifter, kind of that the
a
entertainment
shit sandwich.
shit, everything that's there.
No, I'm
Awesome.
very stoked that we're going back to all Japanese stuff. Yeah, I'm very happy to be exploring that.
Cool.
So,
Brandon, take it away.
all right, thank you guys so much to listening. I'm gonna redo it, Josh. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for listening to 3M Affairs podcast, talking about Tokyo Drift with our special guest Marlon Quijije. Find him on Instagram. It'll be linked on our 3M Affairs podcast Insta. And find Josh at
Stir_Joshua.
and Caleb at.
I'm on Letterboxd, CJCISDS.
And you can find me at Brandon Kyle McPherson. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening and tune in next week for Tokyo Story.
Bye bye.
Peace.